Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Tier List Tuesday. You know what that means? It's where we pick a topic and we dissect it all the way to the bones. What is the top pick? What's in the Bingham category and everything in between? I hope you've had a good Tuesday so far. I know I'm about to. I'm here with someone who lives far away from me, but is a near and dear friend of mine. I brought in Shannon Guss, ready to talk all about the community characters today. Shannon, how are you doing?
Puya and Shannon in the morning. It is actually the morning for me, so it works.
Troy and I've been in the morning.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
it's the early evening for me, but I'd be full. I've needed another coffee to make sure I'm ready to go here. So we have a lot to talk about / a lot to go through with these characters. So Shannon, tell me real quick about your experience with Community before we proceed.
So Community is like my favorite non-Survivor show. And Survivor's kind of its own thing, don't you think? So I've watched the first 3 seasons over and over and over again. Most recently, like a month or two ago. I watched the last 3 seasons one time they were airing, but I am about to rewatch them in like a week when I finish my Scrubs rewatch. So my knowledge of the first 3 seasons is way better. But I love the show. Like, I feel like for me, it was really formative. I was watching it like as a teenager, and all of the meta stuff. I saw a lot of myself in both Abed and Annie. Annie might seem more obvious, but I feel like I have some similarities to Abed. It just to me is like so good. And in rewatching it recently, it holds up so well, those first 3 seasons, and the second season is my favorite scripted season of all time. So I love it.
Yeah, no, for me, I hold it really close to my heart. When I was first moving from Dubai, obviously, I've told this story before, but like I moved very suddenly for university because I got accepted late. So I had like about 10 days to get ready. And so I didn't really have time to sit down and be like all sad, I'm about to leave. It was so zoom, zoom, zoom. So the first moment I really started feeling it was when I said goodbye to my parents at the gates. And I kind of just like had to sit there and wait for my flight. And I had an iPod Touch. I still have that iPod. And I had loaded it up with the first 2 seasons of Community. So I watched them on repeat for like a good 18 hours, just constantly. I was like, I need my mind off of this other stuff. So I just kept watching them. And honestly, to this day, every time I watch them, I go back to that moment. And it's got me through a lot. There's specific episodes that every time I watch them, I remember exactly where I was in the airport on the way over to Canada. So it's definitely been one of my more important ones. Obviously, like most people will say, like you've said, the last couple of seasons really fell flat for me. I don't even, to be very honest with you, I don't think I finished season 6. I think I've gone through halfway of season 6, but I just couldn't get through it. And I've never had that. I'm a completionist. If I watch a show, I finish it. It doesn't matter how bad the show is, I will finish it. So 6 was a little bit like, yikes. I liked 4 up until obviously when we get the exits, it gets a little rough. 5 is fine at best, but 6 was yikes. The Yahoo one was yikes. So, yeah.
I remember just and then like slight improvements for me for 5, and then finding 6 patchy. But I totally get what you mean, because I feel like I'm always sad in airports. Firstly, I moved from South Africa. And also being long distance for 5 years, I was like always in the airport and I was always sad about it. And I feel like RHAP for me was what I listened to, and that's why I loved it so much, because I would be upset and I'd put on a podcast, and then I would it would take the kind of content that you have when you just need it and it takes your mind off it. Like, it's so, like, you remember that years later.
Yeah, for me, so I'm seeing people being like, you liked 4, and here's the thing. I liked 4 because my peeps were still there. Once Troy left, I kind of was like, well, I'll have to finish you, but I got a deal. So here's what happens with the tier list, Shannon. So basically, as you can see, we have five tiers that we're going to go through. The bottom tier has always been and always will be Bingham. on this channel. Basically, it's trash, it's garbage, chuck it in the bin, it doesn't matter, we move on, okay? Now, the fourth tier is named after the Greendale flag. It's the E pluribus anus, aka butt. So, since it's butt, that feels like it's the rightful place for it to be. Third tier is a horrible pun, but it's a pun that you can only make with one person's last name. It's Chang, and it's I Chang decide, aka I can't decide. It's kind of average, kind of in the middle about it. That's where it's going to be. Now, the two tiers, I felt like I couldn't decide what to do about it. You know, I couldn't decide if I wanted the Dreamatorium to be number one or Streets Ahead to be number one. Ultimately, I prefer the phrase Streets Ahead than the Dreamatorium as a total. But what do you think about that? Did I make a mistake?
Pierce thing, number one, might be counterintuitive to where I would rank him. But we can put him there because it may be the highest he gets for me. His statement of Streets Ahead.
Interesting. Okay. No, I mean, that makes sense. Also, I just realized that Meow Meow Beans was in season 5. I did like that arc. So it's a little bit foggy.
Like Meow Meow Beans.
Me and Liana started a rewatch of Community like 3 months ago, and we've not passed season 2. We started it, we got to season 2 on the rewatch, and then Liana started watching How I Met Your Mother for the first time. So then she did that, and then now we're rewatching New Girl. So we've just like kept jumping different waves, and eventually we'll get back to Community, I hope.
Well, Peter and I started watching it 3 months ago, and we watched 3 seasons and have since watched 8 seasons of Scrubs. But then we're going to go back and we're going to watch the last 3. Yeah. Okay. So it will take us like a week.
Uh-oh. Shannon, should we try and do no video on your end and my end potentially if if the lag persists a little bit?
I can hear you fine, but if you can't hear me,
you've been coming in and out of connection for me here and there.
Wait.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever you think is best, but I hear you perfect.
You hear me perfect? Okay, well, we'll proceed and we'll see what happens. We'll proceed what happens. Okay, so you're the guest. Therefore, you get to make the first pick. Who would you like to nominate to start for our deliberations here?
We'll go with the lead ones later, I think. Like, let's start with an obvious one. I think with Abed.
Okay. I heard Abed. I feel like you said Abed,
yes, right? Yes. Okay. I said Abed.
Okay.
Yes.
It's only fitting that he's the first picture here. So what are your thoughts about Abed here?
So, is it super boring to start with my favorite?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, this can go many different ways moving forward, but so why is he your favorite?
Abed is probably my favorite sitcom character ever.
Ever? Okay. Interesting.
Firstly, I feel that Community only can work because of Abed. Like, I feel like the whole conceptual element of it is because Abed can take it there. Like, I found with all the concept episodes, because Abed is constantly committing that much to the bit, that's how you can push to, even if it's like little bits or like full concepts, he's like kind of the person who can make that happen.
Okay.
I think his relationship with Troy is maybe a top sitcom relationship of all time. I think he himself kind of shows, like, different ways. Notable. And like, again, I feel like I saw a version of me very, very weirdly, but like kind of like the meta thing. And I think Abed's the kind of character that takes Community from being just like a sitcom to like a very special show that's beyond itself. So yeah, I think he's probably my favorite sitcom character of all time.
Okay. So here's the thing. Abed is also in my top tier. He's not my number one though. And for me, Abed loses points here and there just because I would get irritated with some of his actions during. He is ultimately, to me, one of the more unique characters on any sitcom, any comedy ever. I don't think I've seen another character like Abed. He is also, he's depicting a Middle Eastern person on a comedy. Love that. You know, as someone from the region, love that. But I do think that there have been some moments with him that I've especially found myself frustrated ultimately. But he's a very easy top 3 on the cast for me, and then easily in my top 10 all time. So I'm nitpicking a little bit, but it makes sense for him to be your number 1. I think, you know, he is the couple lists I looked at while trying to figure out how many characters we can pick from. He was number 1 on all those lists too. So he is pretty much, again, a very special character that not every show gets the opportunity to have. And also, you know, Danny, I haven't seen him in anything else since Community, and I hadn't seen him in anything before Community. So I can't picture him doing anything else.
I'm sure he was in like a sci-fi type movie. It was like a random small character. Can someone in the chat help me out? I know I was like excited about this.
He was on a show with Rob McElhenney, and he was on an NBC show about superheroes.
Was he in The Martian?
The one about the video game?
The video game?
Yeah, the creator from It's Always Sunny, Rob Mackin, whatever his last name is.
Mythic Quest?
Yes, Mythic Quest. It's a really, really good show.
Okay, well...
And he's really great in it, too.
That was not the voice of God. That was Liana saying we should check out Mythic Quest. So that's the thing.
Well, okay, the two... So if I'm going to nitpick, I don't love the Inspector Spacetime stuff.
Oh!
Yeah, but I blame the show more than Abed himself. And it's true, like, I feel the group does pander to him in a way that's a little bit annoying. But I also feel like he's not a perfect person. Like, almost...
Right. So...
and Abed's uncontrollable my favorite of the show.
So yeah, for me, it ultimately came down to the fact that Abed just got away with too much. Abed, like, it was just like, yeah, we're just gonna kowtow to Abed, even though we're all looking at Abed and being like, he's not doing the right thing, but because it's Abed, we'll let it happen. Like, I think the most frustrated I've been with Abed was potentially during the pillow and blanket wars, where he just wouldn't let them get the record because he was being stubborn, and I thought that is ridiculous. So that's kind of where I drew the line a little bit on him there. I do enjoy his fascination with Cougar Town. That was because I've watched Cougar Town, not all of it. I've watched a decent chunk of it. Yeah, and I was like, this is a strange show for Abed. You've watched all of it? I fell off at some point.
It got better.
Yeah, it started rough, but like I said, because I couldn't not watch, and I was in a position where I would start running out of shows, I ended up keeping Cougar Town going, and then once I moved, that's when I fell off of it completely.
Yeah, well, I kind of think like like they all go with him. The show exists. It to be happening, but if I had to choose a character where it's like this is all happening in his mind, it would be Abed. Like, I know Jeff is the main character, but Abed would never make himself the main character. And like, even the fact that like in Remedial Chaos Theory, Abed's like, you're going to create all these timelines, and then there actually are other timelines. Like, the show is very much happening like through Abed's point of view. So he kind of, in many ways, to me, is the main character who's kind of putting Jeff in front of him. Yeah, so, I mean, I understand the annoyances with him more as a person, but, like, I don't think it detracts from him as a character.
Yeah. No, I think as a character, he's up there, for sure. So I think we've both discussed this, and I think it's a very easy pick. I think he's going to end up in the second tier, right?
The second tier.
Oh, that's sarcasm, but I forgot to inflect. This sounds way more like sarcasm. Inflection is so interesting.
Kidding.
You got me.
Yeah,
you got me. I was like, are you...
I've pulled like 20.
I was like, have I been lagging that much? Have you heard anything I've said?
No, I've pulled like 20 of these, and I was like, which one can I quickly use? Which one's Troy? Which one's Abed, I mean. But yeah, okay. So that's the first one done and dusted. I'm going to end up picking someone who's probably going to be a quicker combo here. But let's talk about everyone's, I don't know about everyone's, math professor, statistics professor, Professor Slater. Let's talk about her for a hot minute, because I'm not going to lie, she ends up being one that for me gets put on the list because I was trying to get to 20. I was like, we need to break 20.
And then we got 23.
Yeah, we have more now, but she was already in the draft before we remembered a couple, so she just gets to stay there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I love Professor Slater.
I mean, her best moment, what do I remember of Professor Slater, right? Because she comes in season 1 and she ends up playing the first real relationship / like encounter that Jeff has outside of, while he's trying to mac on Britta those initial seasons, right? I don't really I didn't think we got much out of her, to be honest. I think the best role she played was at the dance where she kind of goes head to head with Britta a little bit, but I can't think of any other specific examples and moments where she stood out to me, really. Yeah,
like she's a character that exists as a function for the others. Like when she wants to be when they need a competitor for Britta, there she is. When they need Jeff to kind of be growing up, she's kind of facilitates that. Like she's not really her own person. Yeah, someone in the chat said she's a plot device. It's a really good way to put it. Like she's way more a plot piece, I think, than.
Yeah, well, I feel like they kind of needed someone to be the introduction to the storyline of, a teacher sleeping with a student. So now you got to keep this a secret as a group. So I think that's all she really ended up being used for. And then we kind of moved on. We once that dance happened, I can't even recall off the top of my head if we see her again. So
no, we do, because then then she's like, Jeff, I want you back completely out of the blue, because they want her and Britta to be going against each other. Again, like such a plot device. There was no reason that she should be wanting Jeff back, but they just needed competition for Britta. So yeah. I think she's low for me, but I don't know how harsh you usually are.
Here's the thing: the Bingham category, usually we end up having like maybe 3 on like a good day, sometimes 2. We've had a couple that are we've had 5 on 1 depending on which day. So it really depends. I'm looking at this list and I can see for me personally 3 Binghams, and I think she's one of them.
I actually so in our initial list of 20 before we forgot, I kind of just put a rough, and she was pretty much second last for me.
Okay.
We're very harsh on Slater, but she's just not a good character.
She's just not there. I mean, it's no offense to the actress or anything. It's not like she ruined a character for me. It's just they didn't give her much to do.
They gave her nothing.
Yeah, no. And there's some characters here that we can argue didn't have much to do, but they're memorable. I have active memories of them. So, yeah. No. Okay. Where would you like to go next?
I think I will go with Chang.
All right.
I went with a big,
yeah. I mean, right off the bat, let me hit you with this. One of my favorite things to come out of Community that first season. I am seeing your Chang, and I'm so ill. This is a one, and I can't be killed. I love that song. Same. And I remember looking for it so long. Once that scene happened. So Chang to me is unique because first season, great. Second season, great. The third season with the whole Chang is trying to take over the school. Interesting.
I love that. Yeah. I loved it.
Where Chang gets lost for me was when he just slowly, because he starts off so cool, and by the end of the series, he's some hobo that just gets to be around people. So it's very odd because I can't decide whether I thought he was super cool or do I just look at him as a hobo who got lucky. I can't decide anymore. But I love him. I had so much fun with him. Now, we talked about how the show keeps up. The comedy holds. There are some lines that Chang says that are outdated at this point. There's a lot of lines Pierce says that are outdated at this point. So some of the things
outdated then.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm gonna focus on the parts of Chang that I did like, and literally as someone who podcasts about Masked Singer, and Ken Jeong is one of the 4 hosts, I can tell you that him as Chang is my favorite iteration of Ken Jeong. So
I have a Masked Singer question because. They're showing the American one here, so we were looking up to see who's been in the American one to see if we'd know the celebrities. Has all of Community, because was there a vet they called Brown, and also Jeff was in it?
So Jeff was a
Joel
judge.
McHale?
Jeff was Joel McHale was a guest judge a couple
Oh.
times.
thought
Yvette
he
was
was
a
on it.
popular Yvette was a popular guest for a couple singers throughout the first couple seasons, then ended up being a guest judge for one of the episodes. So,
So none of them were on it.
none of them were singers on it. No. Yeah.
Okay, the person who was reading me that Wikipedia list grossly misinformed me about who was on The Masked Singer. All right, so they've all been guest judged. That's such a weird like pathway that they've all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, Chang, it works for me.
Mhm.
It's hit and miss, but it's like 90% hit for me with Chang. Like he's like the craziness of him being the Spanish teacher at the beginning works. I agree. I am Senor Chang and I'm so ill. This is a warning. I can't be killed.
Mhm.
I constantly have that song in my head.
Mhm.
Then he goes, then they don't know what to do with him, but it kind of always works for me. Like whether he's like living in the vents, he's having a baby with Shirley, maybe. Then he's trying to take over the school. None of it feels out of reach. It always feels true to character.
Yeah, I stand with Papaya in the chat. Basically, they started losing me when Changnesia became a thing. That's when I was a little bit like, I'm sorry, I don't care what's happened to Chang. He literally tried to burn the school down. Like, how is he allowed even near you guys? It makes no sense.
But it works I think I was just laughing ahead in my head when Jeff does a speech to try getting Chang to the group over Rick by just like insulting him, and he just starts slow clapping depressingly himself. The Chang puns work for me. Is it too far that he tried to kill everyone and he kidnapped the dean for weeks and weeks and weeks on end?
That was like,
again, it works. It does work.
The whole fact of the matter for me is that the fact that Chang was able to almost pull that off was impressive because of what we were learning about Chang as we went along. Like Chang was sleeping with a leg. Like that was Chang's girlfriend. So the fact that Chang then realizes, hey, I can get a fake dean and get this all sorted out. Like that was cool. It was a surprise when him and Shirley nearly had a baby together. That was wild.
That was a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, I here's the thing. I don't know if this is a popular opinion or not. For me, Chang is streets ahead. Now I don't know if he's like in the top 3 streets ahead, but for me, he's streets ahead. Maybe by the end of this, he ends up being bottom of streets ahead, but Chang is streets ahead because I think similar to Abed, without Chang, I don't know who's like the villain that's also there that you're enjoying, you know?
That was important what you said at the end.
Yeah.
If he's going to be streets ahead, I'm going to have several that are streets ahead, which is fine.
I'm okay with putting him in the Dreamatorium for now, and then we look at it at the end, right?
He'd be high Dreamatorium. He's on the cusp for me. He's great. Like I also feel like I constantly quote, "Have you met me?" He's good. He's quotable. He's memorable. He's very unique. Like I think that's the thing with sitcoms is often that the characters can be kind of replicated, even with sitcoms that I love. Like there's a million versions of like Monica from Friends. I like Monica from Friends. She just exists. Like, and I feel like Chang and Abed don't exist anywhere else in any capacity on any other show.
If the chat wants to give us like who's the closest Chang in another series, I would appreciate that because I'm drawing blanks as well as to who would it be. Kind of like would Kramer be the Chang potentially? Is that who we're looking at?
But they're not the same,
right? Exactly.
You know?
I think they're both kind of like more the disasters in every room they walk into, but they're different to me as well. Okay,
we have.
Yeah.
Sue in Glee was commented.
I've not watched Glee, so I can't.
So I've watched 3 seasons of Glee. Like I get the reference because the chaos and the evilness, but again, not in the same way.
Dwight
so I think the
Schrute?
uniqueness.
Yeah, someone said Dwight. I feel like, but Dwight was never a villain. Dwight was just a annoying person. Like Dwight to me was closer to Sheldon Cooper than Chang. You know, like the tightly wound, like righteous person. Oh, Councilman
I've never
Jam.
seen The Office.
Oh my God. Okay. How is this happening?
I love that I have to have like a time clock watch, and every time I discuss sitcoms, when will I tell people I didn't watch The Office?
I mean, I hadn't watched it till like 3 years ago for the first time, so I definitely feel you on that. Like I know it caught the world by storm, and I watched all of Parks and Rec before I even watched a single frame of The Office.
So Peter and I have been in almost 4 months of our second lockdown. And at the beginning of it, we did watch 2 episodes of The Office. And then we rewatched Community instead of watching The Office.
And that's the truth right there, honestly. It's way easier to rewatch what you already know is a good time and like hang out with someone than it is to watch something for the first time. Because even if it's a bit of a mindless show where you don't have to pay attention, you'll find yourself not wanting to miss the hype or whatever it was, right? So you're going to be paying with like wide open eyes. Whereas I can have on Parks and Rec, Community, literally New Girl, and I know I've seen it before and I've got it already, and I can just enjoy it again. So, and it's comfort, it's what you know. You seek comfort in what you know.
I also read so many think pieces about how like rewatching stuff you love gives you like some semblance of control in an uncontrollable world. And thus my rewatch of Friends, Scrubs, and Community this year.
Yeah, I will say while we're not talking about Community at the moment, I grew up loving Friends. Friends was like one of my favorite shows of all time. And then when I, got into the world, went through university and started realizing, oh, Friends is not for everyone. Because my whole circle, my whole world in Dubai, Friends was like top tier. And then I moved and everyone's like, oh, Friends isn't that good. Liana hasn't even ever watched Friends ever. Liana's never watched Friends.
Peter also has barely watched it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just comfort to me. Like there's nothing better than just channel scrolling and like Friends is on.
Yes, it's a great oh my God, it's on. Yeah, fuck it. I'm watching this. This is an easy decision for me.
I also do think that it can be quite great. I usually watch it now like when I'm exercising on our exercise bike or like again when it's just on. I feel like it's just like a blanket that I wrap myself in.
Yeah.
And I still think it's great. Like I know that it's super outdated and like probably like, the water of sitcoms. It's fine.
Right.
Like I like it though.
Exactly. Like it's not got the smartest jokes. It's very lowbrow, easy to find humor. But also I think for me it's wrapped in nostalgia. So I'm never not gonna kind of take comfort in the nostalgia of it all. I watched it with my mom. Like my mom doesn't watch many sitcoms, but she watched Friends. So yeah. Okay.
I love knowing exactly what will happen. Anyway, let's get on Community. So Chang's cusp. For sure.
Yeah. Chang, we'll put him in the Dreamatorium for now, and then we'll see where we go.
Cool.
Okay. So next on the list, I want to talk about... We talked about how Chang was in a feud with this person to get into the group. And then with another person, honestly, with 2 people back to back. Or weren't they both in the same episode? Yes. So then I said we just talk about both of them back to back. We talk about Rich, a.k.a. the doctor, the kettle corn genius, whatever you want to call him, and then Buddy, a.k.a. Jack Black.
I spell kettle corn with a Q-U. All right. Well, Rich. Rich is another plot device character for me.
He
has more, but more than Slater. He's a better character than Slater, but he still is. Was he the ceramics guy Jeff went crazy over? Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so with him, they kind of left him in an interesting position where it was like, oh, he has a dark side to him. Like at the end of that episode where it sounded like something happened with his wife, I was like, yo, intrigue. And then we just never heard from him again. Like he was in the Halloween episode where everyone turned into zombies, but then if he was around beyond that, it was like as a tertiary character, not even there. I hated him ultimately. Like for everything, he like reminded me of so many dudes who were like, oh, I didn't know I could do this so well. Like, I hate that. I understood why it drove Jeff crazy. Not to the point where, like, Jeff's ego is attached to everything, but I was like, Rich, like, you ain't shit. I don't care whatever you are. You're taking a pottery class in community college. You're not better than us. Shut up. Like, you're the worst. You're really the worst. So.
Well, how old is Rich? Like, he's in his 30s.
Surely.
Probably late 30s.
Surely.
And, like, so this is all season 1. Like, Annie is 19, and it continues to make me deeply uncomfortable. Like, also with the Jeff stuff. Like, 19.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. No,
don't like that.
It's anything any romantic linked is icky at best. The only romantic coupling there that made sense that I was, like, not icky about was Troy and Annie potential in season 1. And then that one episode arc where Annie and Abed were a thing during the paintball. Beyond that, I was like, none of you, please. Like, y'all need to back off. This is weird.
The chat is saying he was great in the Halloween episode. Everyone was great in that episode. It is a work of art.
That is a phenomenal episode. Only zombie thing that I can watch without really getting scared. So, big fan.
Also, the chat is saying Troy and Britta ain't bad.
Oh, we're not
disagree.
there. We're just talking about
saying,
Annie right now.
Because I think.
Oh.
I'm here.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about Troy.
Yeah.
Hard pass. But yeah, I think that I enjoy that he is more of a character than Slater. I enjoy that there's a dark. Okay, people are now anti-Troy and Britta in the chat. No, I enjoy there's a dark side to him, but I don't think he's like a particularly great character.
Yeah, I don't think he's really a great character. Again, if they had done even something with that whole like darkness to him, I would have been happy to see more. But like Jill saying in the chat, it was literally his best moment and we got no more of that. So I want to punish him. I want to bin him, if you will let me.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see it. They're also saying that he turned Annie down because he was too old, but it's still too much for me. Why was it even a thought? She's a child. Don't enjoy.
Yeah. Also, Lucky says Troy and Britta are Rachel and Joey. Troy and Britta were trash. Like I didn't want to talk about it, but like blah, 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 blah. Didn't care for it. At least there was some redeeming stuff with Rachel and Joey, even though spoiler alert.
No.
Wait, at all? To me, there was a little bit there. Not when they finally hooked up. I thought earlier in the series there was more hope for them. I thought when they hooked up, it was just like I was not in for it.
Rachel and Joey makes me feel like physically ill to the point where I rewatched the first half of season 9. I skipped the whole second half and the first episode of season 10, and then I went to Ross is Fine, where they are together, but it's more how weird it is. I like skipped that whole. I could not I don't enjoy any of the parts where they're together.
Okay.
Or where they like each other.
Well, spoiler alert, now that whenever the Friends characters comes up, you're coming back on here for that because I have opinions. I have hella thoughts.
I've been thinking about it so much this year since I rewatched it.
No, it's happening.
I would definitely do that.
All right. November it is. We'll do it in November.
I'll just be here in lockdown. So.
Same. Okay.
The chat says Rachel and Joey is like watching your parents kiss. I disagree. It's like watching like your mom kiss a random guy.
Who's the random guy, Joey or Rachel to you?
I don't know. It's watching your parents kiss someone they shouldn't be kissing. They're not kissing each other. It's still gross that they're kissing, but they're also kissing. They're kissing like your uncle. It's not right.
Yeah.
Okay?
Also, Robbie in the chat put a link that says reasons Rachel should have ended up with Joey on Friends. That is not education. That is a lie. No. Hell no. Okay, let's talk about Buddy. Let's talk about Jack Black. Jill did mention this is a one-timer, one appearance person. He was there. He was trying to get into the study group. They didn't let him. Ultimately, they let him, but then Owen Wilson came through and hit him with a, yeah, wow, come join us. And he was like, okay, bye, guys. You are my safety. So very annoying. Jack Black knows how to play an annoying person like a fiddle. But it was very fun. I enjoyed that episode because Jack Black was irritating, but like the right way of irritating. So definitely for me, this is obviously it's a one character arc. So I'm not putting this in I Chank Decide Dream Eternal or Streets Ahead. I think he ends up in E Pluribus Anus for my personal taste, just because again, not much character development there. It was a one and done, but that one episode did quite a few things. First of all, it made the group seem, we saw how fragile this group is, how much everyone was trying to fight for power, to what depths of hell Buddy took them, where they were considering Pottery Rich or frickin' Chang to be in the group, to not have Buddy be in the group, or Buddy open that discussion. So I liked that it showed that, hey, the group can be fluid. It's not just we're stuck in our ways, potentially. Yeah.
I mean, it's Jack Black.
Exactly.
It's incredibly memorable. And it worked because it was OTT. Like, he was that annoying. So I wouldn't bin him because I think he has more value than that.
Same.
But it would be too hard to put him that much higher because he is a one and done character.
Right.
And he's never even mentioned again. Like, he's not relevant. But for that episode, he's funny.
Exactly. If he pops up in if he
Laughing at the quotes in the chat.
I know.
We try not to sexualize Annie.
Yeah, that was so spoiler alert, that was in the sound bites that I was looking for, and I was like, I don't know if I want this on my soundboard. I was like, I'll leave this out. But yeah,
so good.
Yeah, no, definitely would have been. I mean, literally for me, if we had seen him in one more episode, I would even argue it'll take Buddy a tier up for me. So
the fact that he's even on this list speaks to our admiration for the character.
Exactly. Love Jack Black, and I liked him singing "I'm Sorry" forever with that guitar. Yeah, no, I think this is an appropriate spot for Jack Black. Okay, your turn for the next pick.
You just did two. Like, should I go main? Because you just did two.
So it's up to you. Typically, if I find that we have two that are somewhat similar, I'll just shove them in back to back, especially when like there's not much to talk about either of them. But it's up to you, whichever direction you would like to take. I have thoughts on. I'm
gonna go with Shirley.
Okay, so Shirley it is.
The main character.
Shirley it is.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, what about Shirley? What are your thoughts on Shirley?
So, Shirley, and this is gonna work. This is gonna work into my thoughts about Friends. But in my rewatch, the biggest change and takeaway I took was that I was someone who did not appreciate Shirley when I watched it last time, which was probably like 8 years ago. And this year, I'm like, I love Shirley. She has the biggest change to me of any of the main characters, which is what Phoebe did in Friends in my rewatch this year. That's why it connects. Yeah, I don't think I ever used to appreciate her. And now I feel like she's so funny. The duality of her is hilarious. The group doesn't treat her right. Her relationship with Jeff is like now, other than Troy and Abed, probably my favorite relationship in the group.
One of my favorite Shirley moments is that whole foosball episode where we find out that her and Jeff have met before. Like, that was phenomenal.
That's one of my favorite episodes of the show now. Like, it made me cry when I rewatched it. I don't know why. Like, I think just it's like it's so weirdly and strangely about how, you know, we kind of like put all these expectations on ourselves and have all these insecurities, and then just having a friend kind of be like, you're a fine person. Like, that just always makes me emotional. And the kind of how all of their flaws are based on these insecurities and the way they perceive themselves. Like, it's a great episode. I love that episode. I love Shirley. I know that she does the judgy religion thing, and that kind of stuff makes me uncomfortable, but it is her flaw as a human, not as a character. Like,
Oh, no. You'll be back. I know Shannon will be back. If you can hear me, Shannon. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you're back.
Okay,
you're back.
Okay. I don't know what. Yeah. But I just think, some of her views make me uncomfortable because, unlike Pierce, they're less criticized. Like, they'll kind of make offhand comments about it, but it's not as criticized.
Yes. So for me, I definitely have also come around on Shirley. Not in a hundo way, but in a way that I definitely recognized on the rewatch that Shirley has some great one-liners. Shirley makes me laugh. I feel like with Shirley, I don't expect her, like, obviously given the character that's being played, I don't expect her to be the funny one, but then she's had moments that are amazing. I do like the duality of Shirley where she used to have this checkered past of she used to be like the drunk partying at bars and like doing all this stuff. And now she's like, you know, all in on the Christianity. I will say, as a Middle Eastern guy, the way she treats Abed is so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. Like, there's something specifically that I'll notice. I'm like, yikes. These are some worries I have as a person walking around these streets. But also, there's other parts that I get. I think the biggest problem for me is like when you bring up Pierce, because Pierce also does that kind of shit all the time. The problem is, I think we're expected from the beginning that we meet Pierce to be like, he is out of touch. He is an old racist. and he's outdated in a lot of his opinions. Whereas we're supposed to expect more from Shirley as the forgiving and loving Christian woman. So that's why they rub us the wrong way, or at least they rub me the wrong way a little bit. But specifically, again, with the Abed stuff. I know she's doing it with other people as well, but it's the Abed stuff that really hits home for me.
I'm a Jewish atheist, so the way she treats both Annie and Britta in their beliefs is like the same for me. I don't believe me, religious hypocrisy and judgment is like probably my pet peeve in life. So again, her flaws as a character, but I think like kind of knowing the depth of her, that her religion is probably based on kind of this like really storied past. Well, that makes it okay, but again, I'm not judging her as a person, I'm judging her as a character.
Yes.
I think she's a super layered character. There is some growth there. There probably could be more criticism of what she says. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's interesting to see, and they do a lot with it. So, yeah. I mean, I have a high now. Like, I think that just because of like the layers, and I think she is pretty different to other sitcom characters.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite Shirley lines is when Abed is recording his Jesus film, and then he recites something back to her. She's like, "Did you just scripture me, Muslim?" That was like, for me, that hit me because I didn't see it coming at all. No, I do think that I've also rated her high. I think honestly, if this was something we did last year, I would have put her in Dreamatorium. At this point, I would probably put her in Streets Ahead. Granted, probably lower tier on Streets Ahead, but I think that she's close to Chang for me, but the fact that she has more layers to her than Chang, and that she is someone who I also agree we don't see, like, we're not often seeing this character with such duality on multiple shows. We'll see one side or the other on multiple shows, but not having like all these sides in one person. So I would say probably bottom of Streets Ahead / Streets Ahead.
That would be exactly what I would have her, because I also feel like most sitcoms that aren't Community would reduce her to one of her sides. Like, she'd either be like the like strong, talking, kind of edgy Black woman, or she'd be like the sweet religious one, and she'd never be both. I also think Yvette Nicole Brown is brilliant and plays it off really, really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to the character. Like, again, not like she's not a perfect person by any means, but I think that's what makes her really cool.
I mean, that's what makes Greendale. I feel like none of these people I'm going to be leaving like, oh, they're great as a person. I feel like the closest...
Troy's pretty good.
Yeah, Troy is pretty good. Annie's pretty good. Like, they might be the closest ones, also the youngest ones. So, like, they still have their future ahead of them to become better people, whereas some of these other people are lost souls, forever done. Okay, so let's see. Next on the list, I'm looking at it right here. I'm going to go with someone that's more of a quicker pick / conversation. Let's talk about Todd.
Yes.
Let's talk about Todd, a.k.a. the Yam Bandit. That's what I remember him as anyway.
I love Todd. I love getting this glimpse of the group that they, as the world sees them and not as they see themselves. I also, so whenever I feel like my group of friends from high school being too intense, I feel like we're todding someone. Like, sometimes someone new, maybe like a new partner or someone will come into our environment, and we will be like way too competitive with a game and like scare them off and be like, and I'm like, we're taunting them right now. So I kind of get the vibe. I love that he reminds us all that these are terrible people.
Yes.
I think his rant is iconic. Like, I could probably quote it now word for word. I love Todd. Like, I think we should make a new tier just for Todd and push everyone else down because they're awful and they deserve it.
So I understand your explanation of Todd, and I definitely get it now. However, coming into the stream, Todd was one of my Binham folk.
No, we can't. I can't.
And that's the beauty of it being a two-way street. Like, if you can't bin him, I can't bin him because it's not going to work. At best, he's going to get averaged out into anus. So Todd I love that he did show us that side of the group.
He fought for our country. I don't even live in America.
I mean, I live here now, but no, yeah,
neither of us are really American.
Yeah, no, I feel like okay, so here's the thing. I'm also in the middle of my New Girl rewatch. The same actor plays and someone in New Girl. I just hate this actor.
Really? Who? I can't remember.
He plays the Schmidt's douchebag friend from like college.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I've seen all of New Girl.
Yeah. So he's the guy that talks shit about the party bus in season 1 and gets punched in the face by yeah. So okay, so back to Todd ultimately on Community. I mean, I don't he's not memorable to me. Like I remember more about Buddy than I do about Todd.
I could do Todd's entire speech right now.
Go for it.
What is wrong with you people? I thought you were supposed to be friends. I thought you were supposed to love each other. Your love is weird and toxic. And I forgot the next line.
No, that I remember it now. Based on that alone, you get to decide where Todd goes. I get no say in this. Wherever you say, that's where I'm putting Todd.
I had him in the middle and you had him low. I say we average that out.
Do you want Ariel? Because I'm willing to give it to you because honestly, I forgot about that quote completely. So
I hate that I forgot. Like I feel like I forgot the next line and now I'm stumbling on the rest of it. It's good. It's an for me.
Look at us.
All right. Where are we putting him? Let's put him in the middle, I think.
Yeah.
Like I think he should get points for being he comes back in biology. They again are terrible to him. He served.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I think I Chang's side makes sense given that I also now feel conflicted on him and I'm no longer like firm Binham, which I was initially. So I think that's a good landing spot for Todd here.
And finally take my insulin shot. Okay, that's how it ends.
Someone in the chat
Todd.
is bringing up Guilfoyle. Yeah, we did not have him on the list. He is in one of my favorite episodes of Community though. So but also like meh, I don't care. Like
Offense taken. Sorry, I'm now like hearing it.
Are you just like going through a Todd memory lane right now?
It's like coming to me in little. Okay. All right.
Okay, so
yeah.
you're the next pick here.
We put him in Ai Chang this side.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't keep going with the main one, so I'm gonna go with Magnitude.
Incredibly enough, I do not have a pop on this fucking soundboard, which I should.
You can
I feel
just
like
do it.
it should
Pop,
be one of the pop. Okay. Pop Magnitude. Literally, what is there to know about Magnitude besides pop? Literally, that's all Magnitude is.
Magnitude to me is probably my favorite non-main character.
So better than anyone outside of the top 7 plus the Dean and plus Chang?
Yes, and
Okay.
above one of them. You can decide. You can guess which one. He is in Harry Potter from the chat. Yes. He's like the twins' friend.
He's the fucking. Is he the narrator of the Quidditch match?
Yeah, he's the commentator. Of the Quidditch
Holy
match.
shit! I just clocked that.
Mm.
I did not realize that till just this very moment. That's
So
insane.
here's a reason he works for me. When you have kind of have dynamic show as Community, you can kind of do a lot with that. Like when he gets killed in one of the paint.
And that was my favorite. My favorite Magnitude scene is when he gets killed in paintball. For sure. Can you?
Yeah. And that's you don't change the character, but they constantly change the universe. So he is still dynamic. You know, when he's running for student government and just pop.
Mm-hmm. Does he? I mean, you're saying he's your favorite non-main, which worries me because does that mean he ends up in Streets Ahead to you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because all the main characters except one are above him.
Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna have to force the hand and move us to talking about that person next. I have a feeling I know which one it is, but
imagine if you were just like Troy.
Yeah, I'm like, so tell me why. Actually, you know what? It could be one or the other. There's like 2 on that list. I feel like that it could be either of them on the bottom, but we'll get there.
I'm genuinely confused about who your second could be, so I'm intrigued.
Oh my god, I thought it was very clear because I think I know who yours is, but there's someone that I hate more. So interesting. Okay, we'll see. So above or below Chang for you with Pop?
He's below Chang for me.
Okay, I'm comfortable putting Pop there because honestly, we talked about how the fact that Buddy's in this list with one episode should speak miles. The fact that the fact that Magnitude could say the same word twice like couscous and end up being, forever remembered in infamy. Like, even look at the picture. When I Googled him, that's the picture. You know what he's doing in this photo. He's about to initiate Pop. You know that's what it is. So
it's also something I feel we say constantly in my house. Like, if we're making popcorn, pop. So many different, like, it comes up. Like, it genuinely comes up. So I think...
Yeah, and I think he's miles better than Todd, so he's not going to go in Chang decide. I think Dreamatorium behind Chang makes sense.
Like, just the fact that the whole thread is just saying
pop, yeah.
Also, everyone keeps mentioning Subway, and I feel like I can't see him in my mind, and I want to
fuck Subway. Subway was garbage. That was a garbage storyline. And I didn't like it, and I'm happy. I would have been Subway immediately. So we're on the same page, Marcus. Okay, we're on the same page. Yeah. Too much Masked Singer. Oh, because I said Ken. Yeah, that's probably it. It's probably the case. Okay. So, wait. What do you mean you disagree? What's so good about Subway? Amazing.
Oh my God. Subway is Keith from Scrubs.
I haven't watched Scrubs. Like, not like enough that I know the whole cast. Oh, Shannon's connection was like,
I just watched Scrubs again.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. You're back now. Yeah.
Because I just watched and then I just watched Scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my mind I'm like, because that's why I checked, because I was like, was Subway Keith? And then I'm like, am I just thinking of like a random blonde guy and just kind of homogenizing all random blonde guys? But it was Keith. I'm like, my mind is blown right now. Anyway, we're not doing Subway, but that is crazy to me.
I will agree to the point in the chat that it was a great sponsorship for TV. Like, they did incorporate the Subway brand into the show in a very organic way. So I will give you that. However, Subway, the TV character, the human version of Subway, not a fan. On that show. So, okay. Where are we going? You brought up Magnitude, right? So I'm guessing it's my turn here. Okay. So, in looking at all these people, let's talk about the Vice Dean. I thought
you were going for our most hated main character.
Oh, I was, but let's get some suspense built here. Let's talk about the Vice Dean here. So, John Goodman, love him. Right? Love John Goodman, does the character justice. Not one of my favorite characters, but the whole like AC repair school thing, I thought I was going to hate it when it would start happening, because to me it was like, oh, we're going to lose Troy. He's going to get written off the show. This is brutal. I hate this. He's going to be away from the group. And I'm the type of person, like, I hate when like the main cast starts changing, because I've fallen in love with this group. Once a group changes, it's over. Like when that 70s show, they ended up changing, like Eric leaves to go to, have you watched the 70s show?
Yeah, I have.
So Eric leaves and I was like, maybe we can manage. And then they brought that fucking Randy guy in and just shat on the entire show. I hated it so much. So I hate when it happens. I thought it was going to happen with this whole storyline. Ended up loving this storyline. The whole like, room temperature. This is the room it's based on. Love that. I love it was just strange. It was a strange arc that the AC repair school was run by him, but he's also the Vice Dean, but also they have a lot of shit going on. And I just thought he was a great part of the show. I hated when he died, but also in the show, because when he departs in the show, we had to like deal with some nonsense, but also that meant that Troy got to stay, which kind of worked out ultimately. So the death wasn't completely in vain. I think that, to me, the Vice Dean is probably higher than what I thought coming in, but what is your opinion on it?
They got every joke out of the AC repair school that they could. Look, it's the kind of thing where when you're watching two men fight in the hot box to one's death, you're like, I'm all in with the show now, because if I wasn't, I'd be out. You know, like clearly this is working for me because if not, I'd probably turn it off at this point. And there probably are the show. It's not my, but I don't hate it. And the Vice Dean for me is a character that like is good. I do think I like his relationship with the Dean. I might just put him slightly behind Buddy.
Slightly behind Buddy. I can't tell if my John Goodman bias is about to kick in because like as a character, I feel like that's appropriate. But also, I also would have been like, well, Todd shouldn't be higher up, but that's fine. I think, okay, I'm fine with leaving him behind. But I'm going to push for ahead of Buddy. Is that fine? Will you let? Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, we can do that. And then where do you want to go next?
All right, we've done the Vice D. Should we pull the Band-Aid off?
Yes.
Okay. Troy, not. Yes.
Okay, so you lagged a little. I think you said Pierce?
Yes.
Okay. I'm guessing this was your like hated of the 7.
I do hate Pierce.
Okay, can we dive in on this and talk about this?
Yes. So sometimes Pierce is funny. He's the least funny of the main characters, I think, but he can still be funny.
Okay.
And I like that they criticize his problems, but they don't do it enough, and it doesn't make it fun for me. So here's how I feel. Season 2 is a perfect season of television, and Pierce is the foil, and it works perfectly. But the fact that he's there at all, I think he should have been out after season 2. Like, he mildly redeems himself. He's defeated in a way. It should have been the end. But instead, like, he comes back and they accept him so readily. And from then I was out. Like, I was like, this man is evil. He's done so many, like, reprehensible things. So many. Like, he's constantly sexually harassing Shirley. He blackmailed Annie, bribed her, blackmailed her. He's constantly super racist, super sexist, super homophobic. And, like, his problems with his dad don't do enough to judge. Like, he had a privileged life. So I don't like him as a person, but it's not even that. I don't love him as a character. I think he is a great villain, but I think that he's ruined for me the second that he goes back to just being a member of the group. And I would bin him.
So he's not my least favorite of the main cast. I was right. I knew exactly what was going on. He is like second worst for me, but also I feel like, you know, we've talked about how Chang has had problems. Definitely, without a doubt, without argument, I'm agreeing that a lot of Pierce's shit is canceled on TV now. You can't, like, it's too much. It is super outdated already, like a couple years in, right? But there's been moments, and I do think for me, Pierce is a character that I feel like we've seen IRL. Like, we've seen either on the internet, we've seen like in potential family members, or you've just seen in public, where it's someone who clearly has just stopped being able to pick up new things, stop being able to learn, stop being able to adapt to the new social construct and how the world is, and is just set in their ways. And there's moments with this group where you can tell that he's learning, but then immediately he goes and bribes Annie and like blackmails her. And now that's problematic. And then he pants Shirley without even understanding why it was wrong. And then when he goes to apologize to her, he's sitting next to another black person and is like, just doesn't realize that it's not Shirley. But like, he's a fucking boomer guy. And I feel like old boomer guy that's trying to be cool with the kids but isn't. And if you look at him from a villain standpoint, if you look at him as like his qualities are not redeeming, he's just a dick villain in this group, he's playing that role well. Now, here's the thing. I know that he's been very problematic with the production and everything because like, he had a falling out with everyone. He got exited in an ugly way when they did the reunion this year. He was not a part of that. Like Chevy Chase is known to be a bit of a douchebag. So I'm looking at it. What's it called? I'm looking at it from like just scenes I remember enjoying him in, right? I liked when he was the bad guy in the paintball episodes and then flips it and becomes a winner. It's like, who's that? Your mother's lover. Bang, bang. Kills both of the city college people and wins it. I like that part. I like when they fool him into being a wizard. I also like when they killed him off and they had his will reading, and that whole episode for me was like, I weirdly enjoyed that episode, if not because like I like when they did flashback stuff with Community. I liked when he was bequeathing things to people. That was the first episode of Community I ever watched. Just out of nowhere, downloaded it, watched it. It was like, I'll watch the show, sure. Was that episode. So I agree, he is a trash bag human, top 5 Bingham human-wise. But if I'm looking at it as a TV character, because I knew what I was signing up for the minute we got him, I recognized why and who this is and why I'm supposed to hate him, and I did hate him. So you're saying Bingham. I think he's going to end up being either an Anus or an I Chang decide, because I would put him in Dreamatorium somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, Kate, can I just go back to the Chang thing about how they're both bad people?
Yeah.
Like, as you said, Pierce is someone who exists that we probably have seen in real life, that we're probably fighting with on Twitter at this very moment. If you could work out Twitter, old man tweets. But like Chang like kidnapped the dean and lives in the vents. Like I think Chang works because he's so extra that he doesn't annoy me because he's like clearly a cartoon character. Whereas Pierce just like can be nails on a chalkboard to me. I think I'm also influenced by knowing that Chevy Chase was annoying and bad.
See, yeah, I just know that he had a falling out. I've never like dived into exactly what's gone on. I just know that he's problematic, but like on a surface level. So I don't know the exact details of his bullshit, which I'm assuming would definitely sour me on this whole like where I stand even more.
I definitely read an article where Donald Glover said that he was like impossible to work with and like very inappropriate. Well, I don't like that.
And I think there were parallels into like Pierce always wanted to be like, why don't I get to make the decision? Why does Jeff do it? And I feel like Chevy Chase was kind of the same because he comes from like, he's like old movie fame. And I think he wanted to be treated as such. And I don't think he was getting that. So definitely do see that. I think ultimately, go ahead.
So I just think Chang is way funnier as well. Like Pierce can be funny, but I do think he's the least funny. And it doesn't work for me that he's in the group. Like Chang is a foil to the group constantly. Like why is Pierce in the group? Like best case scenario, he should be like he often is the villain. He works when he's the villain in the D&D episode, in the bequeathing episode, when he's an all-out villain in paintball. Like yes, that does work. It doesn't work for me that they would be friends with him and sit next to him at a table and deal with like the harassment and the bigotry. Like I think that his place in the show doesn't work for me. Whereas Chang is like clearly their foil, and it works.
Okay, so so you said
the chat about how bad he was, but I mean, I would bin him like just because I hate him, but I understand that he clearly has more value than like these one-note characters.
Let's put him behind Todd. Okay, would that be fine with you?
See, because we're now in a different. You wanted to bin Todd. So now we're...
So I feel like that's like the balance where it's like we each had a Bingham that balances out to the middle. But like that being said, I wasn't going to streets ahead him. So maybe he ends up being top of Anus, if anything. Which actually...
I wasn't going to streets ahead Todd at all. I was going to like I Chang decide Todd.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll just leave him here for now. We'll see what happens. Okay, so can we go to the one that I was going to say?
Yeah.
Not a fan of? Yeah, let's talk about Britta here. Britta is a trash person. I hate everything that Britta brings to the table. It's just I never understood her. She starts off the first season as so cool and like, oh, I'm too cool for Jeff. And like I was like, hey, live your life, do your thing. And then the more and more we learn about Britta, she's self-involved. She's got all these like things she believes in, but she doesn't follow through with any of them. I just like, oh my God, listen, I pulled a clip. I pulled one line that was,
I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty.
That's the best quote, though.
It's so I can't stand Britta, and then don't even get me started on the whole like relationship with Troy and how like she really was ruining Troy for me, and then like she just became like, I think progressive, like to start the season, the show, she was like one of the more smart people, okay, and then the more and more we got to like season 3, she was like the dumbest person. Her and Troy were seen as like the dodos of the group, which I'm like, how do we get here? Like, how is this a thing that's happening? I didn't like her. I found it frustrating when storylines revolved around her. And yeah, I just not a fan.
She's like cringe humor, like that's what she becomes.
Yeah.
Number 1 episode where she and that other girl think each other are lesbians.
Oh my God, yeah. that whole arc. Yep. Yeah, she really is the worst.
But she's meant to.
Yeah, no,
yes,
she is meant to be
worst.
that. Yeah, no, I know. She plays that role well, but doesn't mean it doesn't frustrate me even more. Where would she be for you? Would she be streets ahead for you? We'll never know. I'm assuming maybe.
Am I back?
You're back now.
Am I back
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, what a roller coaster. She wouldn't be streets ahead for me. She's my second least favorite member of the group. It's just that there's like a gulf between her and Pierce.
Right, like
yeah, so I still think she's funny. I think that she's like the straight woman of the first season and then changes the most. But I think what she becomes is annoying but pretty funny. Hate her with Troy. She is a disaster human. But it's funny to laugh at.
To a point. It's funny to laugh at to a point. For like she acts like she's so much better than Jeff when they've both been garbage the whole time. And I think that that's the thing is that no, I'm going to keep ranting about her. I understand what you're saying though. Where would you put her? Where would you put her?
I would put her at the very bottom of Dreamatorium. Well, who's in Dream? So
I'd be okay with that. I would end up putting her there
I mean,
as well.
I had her slightly ahead of Magnitude, but it's hard to like compare her to a one-line character who's just funny when she's got a lot of highs, but then probably equally as many lows.
Yeah. I will say we're about halfway through the main cast, like the main study group. I like that it shows that they're not all just going to be in the top tier. That makes me very happy. So yeah, I'm willing to give her the disrespect of letting Magnitude be ahead of her. So that is a situation I am very, very, very okay with.
One great visual gag is how she and Troy are like both versions of Michael Jackson in the.
Oh my God! Yeah, the before and after Michael Jacksons.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, and that episode was really fun as well. The award show, the Bar Mitzvah award show episode was really good to me. I enjoyed that one.
Britt is one of those characters where she can be funny, but definitely if you knew her in real life, like you'd throw things at her.
If I knew her in real life, yeah, it would just grind my gears. I don't know if I would stay in the study group. I'd be like, peace. Like I can't. I cannot. Okay. So I brought up Britta. That means it's your turn once more.
We need some of these smaller characters. I'm gonna say, let's do Annie's boobs.
Annie's boobs it is. I made sure
Annie's boobs is a monkey, so
yes, a monkey that somehow has quite a bit of a story arc, at least a little bit. So
it's an important monkey.
Yeah. So Annie's boobs becomes a big part of when one of my favorite episodes, the chicken finger episode, where they take control of the cafeteria chicken finger operation, and now they are popular and they're getting what they want. And one of Troy's demands was getting a monkey, and he named the monkey Annie's boobs. And then he loses the monkey, and the monkey's the one who steals the pen in that infamous pen episode we found out later.
Such a good episode. Yeah.
The monkey ends up being one of the ones that's living in the vent alongside, spoiler alert, Chang. So Annie's boobs has been around the world. And by world, I mean the Greendale world. Ultimately, if Annie's boobs didn't exist as a character, would the show change for me? No. So.
Well, I mean, the bottle episode to me is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could have found a different reason those pens were going missing, but it is the perfect reveal.
Yeah.
So, look, it's a monkey. At this point, we're ranking a monkey. I don't know what to do with that. I don't hate the monkey. I feel like I could get along with the monkey in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Good name, perfect name that Troy would name a monkey.
The monkey did more without uttering words than Slater or Rich did for me.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
Definitely, at the very least, not going to get binned. This monkey isn't.
No, we're not binning the monkey.
No. Yeah, I think... how long can Jack Black be ahead of more people? I don't know. I feel like I might be okay with leaving Annie's boobs underneath Buddy.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
that feels right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's how much else can... Now, if they ever did a Community movie and Annie's boobs makes a feature there, then definitely we need to re-talk about this, because then it's like, hey, look, this is a bigger arc for the monkey that I didn't think was going to be possible. So let's talk about someone else in here who I feel like I don't know how much I have feelings about, but we'll definitely see. Someone who is also a man of not many words. Let's talk about Leonard.
Leonard is lower on the side characters for me.
I think so too. I mean, first of all, R.I.P. Leonard. I found out today while Googling photos, Leonard passed away last year, and I got a whole kind of sad. It's always sad for me to find out stuff like that with shows I like, especially when I'm still, like, I can still rewatch them. So it was a pretty chilling moment for me. I liked the whole arc with Leonard's, like, food reviews on YouTube that he had. Oh. Yeah, that was fun for me. I also liked when Leonard ran for student body, like student president, and had the debate with Magnitude. That was a good moment with Leonard. So, yeah, I like the shut up Leonard, you blank running gag that we had every time Leonard would say something or walk by. But ultimately, like, there wasn't any connective tissue there with what Leonard was doing as a side character. Whereas, like, for example, we know why Todd was there. We understand why Todd... Like, Leonard's more of a person in the background all the way through. I did like... Probably my favorite Leonard line is when he comes into... When Chang invites a bunch of people to Jeff's house for a house party, and Leonard walks and he's like, "Where are the white women at?" Fucking Leonard. I was like, of course Leonard would say that. But yeah, no, I agree. Probably lower in the side characters for me as well.
I do feel you could have told me that he died before I, like, insulted the character.
I know.
You're like... I was like, I don't like Leonard, and you were like, no. Yeah, I mean, I like that he's like, he can be a bit of a badass, and he's often like the leader of the old people. But yeah, I would struggle to put him above many people. As like, rest in peace, but also
I mean, no bin for you. Oh my god, yeah. Am I gonna, like, talk about putting Leonard in the anus category? I feel like that just seems mean.
the bottom of it.
Yeah. Above Annie's boobs. I'll put
Not for me.
beneath Annie's boobs. Oh, Leonard. Okay. Shannon did this.
No, well, he died. I mean, we can bump him up if you want.
No, that's all. Okay, so Liana's saying that that the white women joke was from Blazing Saddles, and I should credit Blazing Saddles. Okay, Liana.
I'm obsessed with the fact that you spend all your time with Liana, and she's just and when you're not spending time with her, she, like, watches your streams and comments.
Hey, Liana.
Give it a rest, Britta.
Just kidding. You're not Bretta to me. I'm kidding.
I guess I just like liking things.
Okay, cool. Okay, we can move on now. Let's see. Where do we go next? Liana, I'm kidding. Don't ellipses me. That doesn't end well for me. Okay. So the next thing here, next person we can talk about is... Oh, no, sorry. Did I bring up Leonard? I guess it's your turn then. Yeah, I brought up Leonard.
Yeah, I brought up Annie's boobs. What about Duncan?
Okay, let's preface it first by we need to separate the Duncan from the John Oliver.
I can't. That's what I want to say.
It's
That
hard.
I can't.
It's so hard because
Like,
if it's the same person, it's Streets Ahead, and it's no debate. It's just a matter of where in Streets Ahead for me.
I don't love Duncan as a character, but I'm always excited to see him because I love John Oliver. Like, I feel like it's the Vice Dean thing for you where you were super biased by John Goodman.
I love John Oliver.
I can't separate John Oliver. So
as a character, I feel like John Oliver, the fucking Professor Duncan, has such a big story to start. You know, it's like the one connection Jeff has to this school. And then kind of becomes a bit of an afterthought. I loved when he takes over anthropology. That was such a good arc for him.
that was good.
Yeah. And then I loved when he got on stage at the dance and started doing his rap. I enjoyed that personally. And the feud with Chang was great. And then I did feel like a bit of a, oh my God, yes, thank God you're back when Duncan comes back after all those seasons. So, you know what? I've talked myself into it. I think Streets Ahead. On a personal.
Streets Ahead? I can't do Duncan in Streets Ahead.
So all of this, I was like, I can't separate them, and you weren't even going to Streets Ahead Duncan? Where are you putting him?
I would have Dreamatoriumed him, and it would have been like 60% John Oliver.
Where in the Dreamatorium?
Right before Magnitude.
So above Magnitude?
Yes.
Okay. I'm fine with that. He would have been bottom of Dreamatorium for me anyways. The problem is Streets Ahead. The problem is if we put him in Streets Ahead right now, it looks like he's top 3, which isn't the case, but there's only been 2 people in Streets Ahead. So I think that is a good landing spot for me as well. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So I would, I mean, John Oliver is so great.
Yes.
I have, one of my favorite things that I have, which I got as a birthday gift, is the little figurines from Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, where they're all in their little characters. So when I went to see John Oliver live, like I took that in the hope I could meet him and he could sign his little one, but I never got to meet him, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I love John Oliver. So I think put him Dreamatorium.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm fine. Jorai and Chang seems fine. Let's talk about another professor then. Let's talk about the professor of anthropology. Left the show way too soon for my liking, but it's Betty White. I wrote down her character name and I forgot it. Was it Judy something?
Bauer.
June something. June Bauer.
Yeah, June Bauer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that her one episode was interesting to me. I would have never expected Betty White to play a character like this, but it was enjoyable, but it was also forgettable a little bit for me. So I don't know how high, like as far as side characters go, you know, Buddy was a very memorable episode, one arc episode for one person, whereas Betty White was a fun half an episode for one character. I think the memorable things were her hitting Starburns with a blow dart and then drinking her own piss and choking out Jeff. Like those are the 3 big moments, right? And where she says,
No, but the rap.
Oh yeah, she was in the rap in the credits. That actually bumps her
That
up
to me is the only thing that bumps her up. Yeah.
Yeah, that bumps her up at least 1 tier for me. Okay, so where would you be putting her? Never bidding Betty White.
Pretty low. We're not bidding her, but pretty low.
Is she in I Chang Decide? Is she in the middle tier for you? Or is she next to Buddy? And then what side of Buddy is she?
She might be slightly behind Leonard.
Damn. Honestly, that makes sense. That makes sense. I wasn't gonna bin her. She's definitely ahead of Annie's
Betty
boobs.
White is definitely still alive as well. So
Yes.
that I feel better.
Betty White alive and well, doing fine.
Keep hanging in there, Betty.
Yeah, I someone did say in the chat that Leonard's "It's a Bye" is iconic, and we've definitely contributed in some Leonard erasure here, but also I can't see Leonard going higher up than where Leonard is, but we'll revisit at the end if we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We could possibly put Leonard ahead of Jack Black if people want.
I'm okay with that. I'm doing that. We're doing that. It's happening. We'll put a little bit more respect on Leonard's name, I guess. Okay. So who do you want to talk about next here?
But so we put June Bauer behind Jack Black.
Behind Buddy, yeah. So
Nice.
It's Goodman, Leonard, Jack Black, Betty White, and Annie's boobs.
Look, Sam's just popped into the chat to say we're wrong.
Let's
we
see
were
it.
just saying that Sam is amazing.
Wait. Can I hit Sam with a soundbite?
Do you hate this? Do you hate doing this? Do you? Let me talk to you. Can I talk to you for a second? Just hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, people are saying like Annie's boob needs respect. Like the problem is like they're all so good. Like, all the
Right.
characters are
Here's
good.
the thing, right? Honestly, outside of Slater and Rich, for me personally, Todd, I like all the other characters. I've enjoyed the characters when they've been on the show. There's episodes that I love them in. They make me feel things. So this is definitely, by no means are we saying that these people are trash. In their personal life, they might be trash, but on the show, I've enjoyed everyone above from Anus and above. That sounded horrible, but from the 4th tier and above, you get what I'm saying. We good.
I next want to go to Vaughn.
Stupid Vaughn. Okay, let's talk about Vaughn.
I enjoy that that's kind of like the beginning of Shirley and Jeff's relationship. The Pierce is a Beast song is very in my head. It's a great song.
Yeah.
He has tiny nipples. That's funny. He has a heart. You know, some sensitivity to him. Vaughn is actually like I had Vaughn low like when I was just kind of like drawing it out, but like I actually think I kind of like Vaughn.
I would have loved if the Vaughn and Britta storyline went longer because I think that they were both kind of similar in ways, and I would like they seemed like a couple that made sense to me. So I would have been fine seeing them continue and Vaughn be like a side character moving forward. Also, I get it, chat. Yes, I know the nipple, tiny nipple guy. I'm the nipple king. I get it. We get the
Actually, can
connection
someone
here.
explain that to me? Because I see a lot of that on Twitter. And
I
don't
know
understand.
the fact that it's a lot is yeah. So basically, there was one day in the Big Brother house where it was like the night after the Thursday episode, and 3 of the house guests started talking about their like nipple side. Like Enzo was like, "Oh, I have like tiny nipples," and like he lifts his shirt up, and then Cody was like, "Oh, I have tiny." Like they showed like they compared nipples, and then Tyler shows his nipples, and Enzo was like, "Oh, you have silver dollar nipples," and then they were complimenting his nipples. So we didn't talk about it on the live feed update the next day, but then Taryn usually ends the update with, "Is there anything else you want to talk about, Puya?" And I had seen extensively, because it was a bit of a slower day on feeds, that a lot of Twitter, a lot of Reddit was talking about like the nipple jokes. And I was like, well, we haven't talked about the nipples. I feel like we should at least like touch on that for a second. And then Taryn was like, well, as the like lead nipple judge or something on RHAP, what are your thoughts on the nipples? Whose nipples were better? And then I was like, well, like I jokingly said, I think, you know, Enzo's was probably better. And then I was like, I don't know why I'm the nipple king now, but I guess I'll take it. And then Twitter was like, nipple king. And like, that's all they took from that. So, and then it made its rounds. And now it's a title that I have in part of my titles. So there you go. Now you know the story.
I don't think I ever want to hear the word nipple again.
Unfortunately, I've said it like 18 times now.
Yeah.
There's more to Vaughn than his chest bullseyes. I don't know what to call them now. I can't say the word, but whatever. Vaughn, I think, for like the granola hippie that plays hacky sack and like plays guitar in the, you know, college square, that all fits as a character. It's not like there's not much duality we see in the character. Again, something that makes me mad is they made it seem like Vaughn and Pierce were gonna have a long feud, and I was excited about that because when that episode ends with Pierce and this person recording a diss track on Vaughn, and Vaughn's like, "Cool, I see what you're doing," I was very, very, very excited about that. So the fact that we didn't get much payoff of that, not happy about. Also, doesn't matter by the end. The whole dating Annie thing, I hated. I hated that Annie was going that direction. I was like, you can do better than Vaughn. So ultimately, I think Vaughn, for me, deserves more than, like, above Buddy for sure, is where I would land.
Super not on this point, but I'm thinking about it now, and I do actually think at this point I could do the whole Todd speech. I realized a line I was missing. Okay, because I've been thinking about it the whole time. I was like, what comes after your love is weird and toxic? I'm pretty sure it kills everything it touches.
Yes, it is. It is.
I'm going home. I'm gonna hug my wife and kid, and finally take my insulin shot. It's something like that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm so glad I got that out of my. Oh, he always says hi 3 times. Yes, there's a lot of like nuance to Vaughn. So you want to put him above where? Above who?
I honestly, he might end up being top of the anuses for me.
I think I could put him there. Like, that's surprising to me now that I'm thinking about it. Like, there are so many good jokes. I think that's almost some of the most I enjoy Pierce.
Yeah, the feud with him I liked with Pierce. Pierce like playing in his band with the Brita song, and then the fact that Vaughn contributed to the Jeff and Shirley friendship and started that. Like, I like that as well, because like we talked about the foosball episode being important to their friendship, but this is where it really started, was this moment right here. So I think Vaughn's done more than I thought about coming into this. So I think it's a good landing spot for Vaughn.
Yeah. Also, complete banger. Pierce is a bee. So yeah, just on that alone, like, that's a great song. Great song.
So,
and Pierce like constantly getting trapped in the drum kit is really funny to me, or with the keyboard or whatever. Like, it was funny. I agree with where you've put him.
I think
getting rid of Brita, also great.
I think Brita was the first song, right? And then Pierce happened later, right?
Yeah, because then he said he'd written that song, and then they wrote the song about Pierce.
Yeah, also Dippin' Dots
getting rid of the bee.
Dippin' Dot walked into me saying top of the anus for me. Welcome to the community characters tier list. It'll make sense. Also, I did see quite a few people saying that they haven't watched Community before and they don't know what it is. Definitely give it a shot. It's on Netflix. It's available. I think it's on Prime Video as well. It's definitely a great show to watch. It's so easy to take in. It's so easy to just like walk into. I remember introducing it to a friend of mine who didn't really watch TV like that, and she fell in love with everything Community stood for. And the fact that there's a little bit of everything for everybody. Like, it's not just like one note at all. So give it a shot.
It's genuinely brilliant. Like, the whole of season 2 is
same
just
creator as Rick and Morty.
brilliant.
This is true. All right. I kind of want to talk about these next 2 people simultaneously, even though I want to acknowledge that they're different and I have them rated differently probably. But let's talk about Garrett first. Crisis alert.
Sight unseen, I think Garrett is low on side characters for me.
Very
What
low.
is Garrett's bit? Like, what is Garrett's
Crisis
bit?
alert. The whole
That was
Crisis
one
alert thing was
episode.
him.
That was one episode.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
that
all I
wasn't-
remember about him. It's that, and it's the there was this one scene where he's like exacerbated. He's like hyperventilating a little bit. That's what I remember about him, but I do not remember much more. The chat might be able to help it. We got some super fans in the chat. If you could give us the he's always panicking and sweaty. Yeah, that's
not
kind
a
of what I
bit.
remember.
Like, that's not a character.
The super
that's not
nervous,
pop.
super nervous person. Yeah, I mean, Garrett's not, again, like I said, I wanted to talk about him and Fat Neil back to back, but I don't think they're in the same spot. I think they're different to me. So I feel like Garrett, I don't like as a I don't want to, I might bid him. I might bid him.
Why,
He
why are
married
we
his
bidding
cousin.
him?
That's what the chat is saying. I mean, that's the thing is, like, I'm sympathetically, I might not bid him, but I also kind of want to bid him because also, you know, it's with the other 2, we kind of like threw him, bid him because you had no arcs, you were on one season, you left. Garrett's around for a long time, and the fact that we're sitting here in silence a little bit, like, he deserves a little bit of binage or bottom of Annie's boobs.
Let's bin him.
Okay, fuck it, bin him.
But the top of bidding him.
Yeah, he's better than Slater and Dr. McKettlecorn.
He's not that funny.
Who, Garrett? No.
Garrett's not funny.
No, Crisis Alert's the only thing I remember about him. And like, wasn't he one of the victims of the ass crack bandit?
Remember.
Yeah, I feel like that might have been, yeah. Okay, where next? Oh, yeah, Fat Neil. I want to talk about Fat Neil. So, Fat Neil, part of one of the best one episode arcs for me, but then we see him after that. The Dungeons and Dragons episode with Fat Neil is great. It's some of Pierce's best work as well. because like Pierce really becomes to me one of the most hated moments I have with Pierce is that whole D&D episode. And I think that without Neil that doesn't exist because Neil's the whole catalyst behind that. And then I love that him and Vicky end up becoming a thing and that we find out that they were the Yam Bandits. So I very much like
him and
that.
Vicky is good.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I think for that reason alone, he ends up being one of the higher side characters for me. Not like astronomically high, not like magnitude high, but like higher.
Yeah, so the D&D episode is to me one of the best. It's been removed
10.
off the streaming platforms, which I think is like
Wow, really? Oh, is it because
This
of
is a bit
the Ken Jeong blackface?
right, but Ken Jeong was playing a dark elf.
Yes.
And they like so it's not black, and then they even say like, "Are we going to ignore this hate crime?" So a few things in there that we don't need to get into, but I think that that's the kind of episode that he could save lives. Like it's about suicide prevention. So I love it. It also has my favorite exchange I think in the show's history, where sorry, am I stalling? I can never tell.
No, you're good now. You're good now.
Okay. Phil?
Phil?
No. I just want to know if I was still.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Like,
you're good.
All right.
Yeah.
So the exchange between Fat Neil and Jeff, where he's like trying to work out why Jeff called him Fat Neil. He was like, "Well, someone asked where the bathroom was, and you were standing by it, but you were also standing by other Neil."
Oh no, you froze at the punchline.
He's black. I don't see the world through that lens. You get it? Please.
Yeah. No, I definitely remember that scene as well. And it's a shame. It's a shame that episode's been pulled because I honestly would argue that's for me, that's a top 10 episode as far as storyline. And, you know, it's the most I've been intrigued by Dungeons and Dragons probably ever. So, no, it definitely does its job well. And, yeah, I think for that reason alone, I want Fat Neil in I Chang Decide.
Look at us.
Like smack dab in the middle.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Probably where I'm leaning.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're here now. Where
Sorry, am I back?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Where do you want?
I put him
Fat
in.
Neil to
Yeah,
go?
I Chang Decide. The D&D episode. Yeah.
Above or below
okay.
Pierce?
Above. I think, and that makes. I think we should do that for the D&D episode where Pierce is like at his most awful.
Well, can I also argue
awful.
that above Todd?
Yeah. That's
okay.
Fine.
All right. Fat Neil gets his retribution here. Okay. So where do you want to go next? We're down to the final 6 here.
I think we can go to a main character because we just did a bunch of side characters.
Okay.
I can't believe I paused at the
left.
punchline of the joke. It's a great exchange. It's a community. I am. So now because I genuinely think it's like genuinely important. All right, let's do Troy.
Troy it is. Okay. So where do you stand with all the Troy stuff?
Books!
Troy for me is top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Troy is my 3rd favorite on this list.
Now you're
which pains me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it pains me because he could be first on any list. Like I think that would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's just 2 characters I've put above him, Abed being the first. Second we haven't spoken about yet. Troy, I mean, what's to say about Troy? Like he is amazing. He's so funny. A million one-liners. Donald Glover is the best. And he is such an important character. Like in Remedial Chaos Theory, there's all these theories about how when each of them leaves, it shows the dynamic without all of them. And the main takeaway is that when Jeff leaves, the group does better. Mm-hmm. And when Troy leaves is when they go to the darkest timeline. So basically the group without Troy is the darkest timeline. Without him, everything's on fire because he's like the real heart and center and leader of the group. And I think that's very fair.
Troy's my favorite.
Yeah, that's fair.
Troy's,
that's super fair.
I can explain. Let me explain.
So Troy has
Look at us.
everything
Look at us.
I
Who would've
need
thought?
in a
Not me.
character on a comedy. He ends up becoming better and better as as the seasons progress. He definitely starts off as like a douchey high school jock, and then there's more heart to him. There's more emotion there. We learn more about him. He lets his guard down and kind of shows his stupidity a little bit, which I did appreciate. And just overall, and the friendship with Abed is phenomenal. Again, we've talked about like one of the best duos of all time, I feel like, in any comedy. And just, I love Donald Glover too, so much so that with or without, whether I include him or not, number one for me, I love Donald Glover. I love him as a rapper, actor, stand-up comedian, all of it. So for me, this is a very easy decision. When Troy is upset and is freaking out, it's some of the best physical comedy on the show altogether. When there's that episode where Chang makes him and Pierce dress up as ladies and takes them to the prom. Troy's sad face while he's grinding up on Chang is just so funny. And then
So good.
the whole LeVar Burton scene is so good. So you can't disappoint a picture. I hate you, Pierce. Love all of it. When he leaves, that episode is one of the sadder ones for me. The whole lava episode's sad, and then the next episode where he gets Pierce's riches to go around the world aboard the Childish Tycoon. Again, that's something that I'm sad when I see that. But yeah, to me, it's a very easy streets ahead. There's no I don't think we needed to discuss this because we're on the same page. When he's singing the Reading Rainbow song in tears, like it's all just so good.
So the early Troy is weird because he's not in it enough, and he is like this one note douche bro. But I think like early on, where he's going to be amazing is in when Annie does the waiting experiment. The Soul Train Awards were tonight. And he just like, goes out on his elbows. So good. He's amazing. Like, he's an amazing character.
Mom, how many lies have I been living?
I think
how he doesn't know his own birthday.
Oh my god,
his age.
him turning 21 is also a good episode. I like that episode as well. So
I think it would make sense. Like, even though he's third for me, and again, like third, 2 and 3, like this whole top 3 to me are like some of my favorite characters of all time. And I think it would make sense. Like, he and Abed need to be 1 and 2, but 1 and 2 in what like I'd love to hear from the chat. Like, one or like, because they're saying put him in number 2 behind Abed.
Yeah,
I don't know. I could go either way.
I've put him. I would, because I rate him far higher than Shirley. I would put him next to Abed, and then it's a matter of what ends up being. Sorry,
Troy 1.
So I personally would have Troy 1, but I know you would have Abed 1. So I think that evens us out.
I know. I don't know where to go with it. The chat is split.
Yeah, we can come back to it at the end and see if there's any final takeaways to move it any other way. I'm willing to leave Abed at top if need be because of the novelty of Abed and the fact that we don't have an Abed anywhere else really. But we can find that out later.
They're saying it's Troy and Abed, not Abed and.
Hey, this is true because it's not alphabetical, but also Abed and Troy in the morning does not have a ring to it.
No. That doesn't work.
But here's the unfortunate thing is that
I think Troy needs to.
You think Troy what?
I think I would put Troy second, clearly.
Yeah.
But like Troy is like the heart of the group, and Abed is like the soul of the show. Like I think Troy is like the soul of the actual people on the show, and Abed is the soul of the format of the show itself.
Yeah, I will say ultimately the one takeaway here is, or the one argument, if I'm playing devil's advocate, is. We saw the show without Troy, and it wasn't great. But we have no idea how the show would look if Abed left and Troy stayed. Would it still be bad?
It would be bad.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll never know. I mean, that's the argument, right? But like, I agree. I think Abed stays first. I think Abed stays first, and then Troy stays second. That's fine with me.
Also, one of my most quoted lines in pop culture is, "Why does she have to be black?" Which I use anytime anyone like refers to anyone's race without needing to, whatever race it is. Like they could say like, oh yeah, like I have an Asian coworker, and I'd say, why'd she have to be black? So just so many quotable lines from Troy.
Troy's great with the lines. I've pulled so many here, and I didn't check them to like I can't tell what it is because I can't see the full name. But what is this one?
I didn't get permission for this.
Oh, that's just okay. That's nothing.
Your social skills aren't exactly streets ahead.
Oh, there we go. There's the Streets Ahead line. I think we've used the rest of them, which is
Cool.
okay.
The chat is saying Troy
and Abed on the tier list. I'm assuming that's what you were going for. Oh, there we go.
I was.
You're back.
Oh my
Okay.
God, what is happening to me?
I don't know. Your internet's like being like, I don't want you to rate these people for whatever reason. But
That makes me
making
feel
it-
sad. I don't know why.
No, we're working out. Everything's working out. I'm next on the pick'ems here. So let me get this straight. You've said that 2 out of your 3 top 3 has been put in there. So there's hypothetically one of those 3 is still on the list.
Yes.
Okay, I think I know who it is, and I think it's supposed.
Who would you guess?
If I guess, I'll. How about this? The one I nominate is the one I guess. So we'll have to talk about them if I've guessed correctly. Okay. So tell me why the Dean is in your top 3.
Nice, you got it. Because the chat was guessing Annie, which would have been a good guess.
Now I had a
Annie's
feeling. I had a feeling that Annie was like that would have been the chalk pick. But I was like, I have a feeling it's a more unique one that would not be chosen. Yeah. So let's talk about the Dean.
So I've always loved the Dean, but especially in my rewatch, I was like, the Dean to me might have the highest statement to laugh ratio for me. Like I probably laugh at 90% of the things he says. I love the whole, like, again, there's no one like him on TV. The whole concept that he just wants to be a good Dean, touching Jeff on the chest. Like, there's no one like him. You love him. You want him to be saved when he's kidnapped. The Dean puns. Come on, I'm Dean, and my hands are so clean. At this moment, I am stapling. All of it. Like, Dean is just like an all-time character for me.
The Dean is someone that grew on me. I initially did not understand the Dean, but then more and more, like the Dean having an underground rave at night at the school was great to find out. The Dean, like at the musical episode, be like, "Oh, Britta's in this," and then finding out that, oh, did you know that Greendale students are technically in the Army Reserves? Like, no, the Dean is great. The Dean is great, and like I like that. You never knew what costume the Dean was going to come out in, which was great. The whole getting Jeff to sing Seal's Kiss from a Rose, I loved that. That was great. Yeah, no, the Dean trying to be the best Dean there is, but also actively doing stuff that is highly awful for a Dean to do. Love all of it. Love all of it.
Yes.
And I totally see why he's top 3 for you.
Should he be, checking Jeff's student email and reading emails from his psychologist? No, but we're not judging these people as people. They're characters. The Dean is just like, he's so funny. Like so many quotable things that he does. And the insanity that is Greendale is like all Dean. The fact that like when they go to the environmental week, they make it Envirodale when it was already Greendale.
And then getting the wrong Green Day for the Pop and Lockathon. Or was that for the Pop and Lockathon? It might have been.
Everything, like, because Greendale is in itself a character, but like that character is the Dean.
Yeah.
So many things. Like, yeah, I mean, it was like, I think because I've loved the Dean so much lately that I put him above Troy. That might be a really big call, honestly. I wouldn't put him above in the tier list. I think that would be crazy. Like, Troy and Abed should be the first 2, but
I'm willing to put him in 3rd. Yeah, above
I think
Shirley.
yeah, let's do that for sure.
Okay, yeah.
That to me is like a very clear top 3.
Yeah, no, I'm down with that.
The human being as a mascot as well, amazing.
Yeah, no, the fact that the Dean kind of graduated from being a side character to like, I can't see the show without you was great arc as well, for sure. All right. I'm next. We have 2 main and then 2 sides, and it's like weird that this guy is still here as like he kind of starts us off on Community. But I want to talk about one of my favorite side characters, if not for the stupidity of the name. Because I will say, one of these is my favorite side character, and then one of these is I like your name. Let's talk about Professor Professorson, a.k.a. Dr. Sean Garrity. Not Dr., Professor Sean Garrity. So, I don't care for Sean Garrity outside of the conspiracy theory episode.
The conspiracy episode has one of my favorite Dean quotes, by the way.
Which one?
What if, like, just oh, if this hoodie was a time hoodie. I'm not saying it, but it's the Dean's whole script, like that.
We lost you there for a second, Shannon.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. So
Am I
the
back?
Dean. So you're talking about the Dean.
Yes, would this wear a time hoodie?
Mm-hmm.
Would this wear a desk? Yeah, all of that. Amazing. So Professor Professorson, am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Professor Professorson is played by the uncle in Grounded for Life, which is a really, really rare that I
Yeah, you got cut once more, but he is in Grounded for Life, and I remember him from there. That being said, when I first saw him in this show in Community, my immediate thing was, oh, it's the guy from Superbad, the guy who gets mad. So like I know him from like a random other thing. So I feel like he doesn't get his recognition. I know his name, but now it's slipping my head. No, but the whole episode, the whole conspiracy theory episode with all the like random dead ends and plot twists of, oh, it's over now. Oh, now it's over. Oh, now it's over. So yeah, no, I like Professorson just off that alone.
that whole shooting scene is like a work of I'm just laughing. I'm laughing thinking about it. I'm gonna go rewatch it because we wanted to teach you a lesson. Yeah, that's amazing. But I think most of that is the Dean being hilarious and not as much Professor Professorson.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't rank him super low.
Where would you rank him?
I mean, I would maybe probably do like second last tier, anus tier.
Second in anus tier? Where in anus tier? I agree with you.
I mean, again, like it's really off the back of that like complete one appearance.
Can we bump above Betty White?
Yeah, that's where I was going
Okay.
instinctively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that the rap saves Betty White, but also Troy and Abed carry her through the rap for the most part.
Yeah.
So I think that's enough separation for me there. All right. Where would you like to go next? We're down to the final three.
Should we end it on two main characters and then do our last?
Yeah, I think so.
Side
I think it would be weird if we ended it on the one side character.
But also kind of perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's do Starburns.
Star Burns, aka my favorite side character.
Oh wow.
It's just stupid. Starburns is just so ridiculous. Like there is no reason why he should be rocking the Starburns. He wants an identity beyond the Starburns, but that's all people notice him as. And I think that's, that says a lot for me because I do think a lot of people oftentimes will end up being remembered and known for their one characteristic that everyone knows them for, and they might not be able to shake that moving forward. So like, as someone who had a beard growing up, and I say that as if I had it from like age 5, but like I was the one guy that could grow a beard in high school, and like that's all people knew me for was like the facial hair. So I didn't like that. And then in university, same thing. I was the one guy in the friend group that was like actively rocking the facial hair. So like that's what I was known for. So I kind of get him. Obviously, I didn't have like a wacky star on my face, but the fact that he really cared about it. One of my favorite Starburns lines is when he was running for president, and he was like, I fear that a career in politics will ruin my career, my drug career. So then he drops out. Love that. When he fakes his own death, that was good too. When he got shot in the face by Betty White, love that as well. I'm understanding now as I'm speaking that when I said my favorite side character, I meant it. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I could put him as my favorite side character. Like to me, he's below definitely Magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
I would put him. See, you'd want to put him above Britta for sure.
I mean, if you let me, yes. I can't think of a better way to disrespect Britta than to.
I wouldn't have him above Britta, but I'd be happy to let you do that.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take the offer.
Yeah, just give you that one.
Yeah.
Like I think the drug stuff is funny.
Mm-hmm.
Him faking his own death is funny. I do think, like, of the gags, his being Starburns, that's one of the least funny gags.
I think, like, I like, there's, like, random scenes he's in that I do enjoy, which, like, I can't tell them to you now, but if I'm watching it and he's in the background and I notice it, I enjoyed them. So, like, he doesn't have, like, because, like, his biggest characteristic being, I have a name and that's Alex, but no one calls me Alex. That's his biggest thing. But also, who can ever forget the vest, the top hat, and the Starburns on your face?
And then wasn't there a Starburns lizard? He had a lizard as well. They're like, oh, because you didn't need like a second thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wasn't Owen Wilson's study group. So he was with a cool group already. Boom.
He seems to me like the biggest character of the side characters.
Yeah, exactly. In some way, shape, or form, has a bit of speaking to him as well, speaking role as well, somewhat. But also, he's never in. Is he ever in a big like storyline? Like, is he ever sitting with the group like a Fat Neil? Well, no, that's what I'm saying. He's never really had that moment where he's actively with the study group for like the entirety of an episode. He's always like kind of in the background, but always active in the background.
But he's also always there, yeah.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't put him straight ahead, but I wouldn't put him in the Dreamatorium. I'd put him in I Chang beside.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
he was the fry cook in the
fry cook that they got fired. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you feel very strongly about him. I don't want to like, step on that.
I think the fact that there's two side characters in the Dreamatorium is fine by me. And one of each of our faves. Yeah. Okay. So then it's like splitting the two. Let's talk about the person who starts the show with us last. Let's talk about Annie first then. As we end the story here. So yeah, go for it.
They used to call me Annie in university. I probably do. She's probably more similar to me in archetype. She's always been one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. I enjoy her with Troy and Abed a lot.
Okay.
Some examples that come to mind, like when they chloroform the guard.
Yes, you chloroformed the janitor. Yeah, that was so good.
And then they just chloroform him again and then run. But like I think I was getting more annoyed with her on this rewatch than any other.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just felt like a lot of the like babying and sexualizing was kind of irritating me, and how she plays into that. Mm-hmm. But I do also think that she exists on every sitcom.
Yes.
Whether she's Monica, whether she's, in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, she's Amy.
Yes.
It's like you find like the like OCD, A-type personality, Jewish brunette, not always Jewish, but like that, that archetype exists, and I dock points for the more cliche nature of it, but she's a great version of that character, possibly the best version of it. So I still had her here. I actually... In this, I would have always had her fourth. This rewatch flipped her and Shirley for me because I like Shirley more and I like Fanny less.
That's fair.
But they're in a similar vibe for me.
Yeah, no, I hear you with that. I do think that Annie has good moments, but also a lot of it gets lost in the, oh my God, I'm young and I'm flabbergasted that you would say that, but also shouldn't we be studying? And then everyone's booing her. I feel like we lose a lot of where her storyline could go and who she could evolve into being because they keep forcing her to be the youngest one, the most naive one of the group. When in fact, I feel like if anything, she'd be on a better trajectory than any of these people to do more and go further. So I do think because that she has to be like the young one, the cute young one, and they've like fit her into this archetype, they didn't let us see more of her in the way we wanted to see her, if that makes sense. Like I think like they allowed Troy to start growing and evolving, whereas they kind of made Annie kind of stay the same person all the way through a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Jeff and Annie does make me deeply uncomfortable when she's having like the tantrums and stuff. Like I get it, she's an extreme of that character. I like her story of why she's at Greendale. I like a lot of Annie. Like I just found some of the things annoyed me more than I thought they would from one of my favorite characters in my rewatch.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do we throw her behind Shirley? Behind Shirley is what I'm hearing, right? And I think
so now I would.
Yeah.
And now I would after my most recent rewatch.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That leaves us with Jeffrey Winger. So Jeff. I don't know. Jeff has had great one-liners, good dry humor. I like that. I got tired of the I'm too cool to be in the group of it all because it got to a point where I was like, you are no longer cool, dude. You literally lived in like from your car for a while. Like you are no longer that guy. Like unlike Troy, who quickly stopped being the jock, Jeff didn't, because Jeff always saw himself ahead of the people. But Jeff always had the iconic speeches, always, the controlling the group with his hand, always, and the fact that he did have some growing to him where by the end of the series, he starts becoming more of a, I love Greendale and I'm going to work for Greendale. I'm going to be around. So I liked all of that about him. I liked his one-liners or his wingers and his speeches. But I recognize that he was never supposed to be our favorite character, even if he might have been the one that started it all off.
Well, the thing with Jeff is that all of his relationships are crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think his relationships are better than the character.
Mm-hmm.
Britta, crucial. Shirley, we've said, probably our favorite. He's got stuff with Abed. His relationship is like a mentor figure to Troy and almost a competitor to Troy is important. Annie, that speaks for itself. Pierce, like every member of the group is connected to him, and he is like the Nebulous. And I do enjoy when they kind of make fun of it, like in the flashback, non-flashback episode with all of his speeches.
Yeah.
Kind of making fun of the whole speech concept. Look, I like him more than Britta and Pierce.
That's good.
But he's otherwise like the lowest of the group for me because the others do bring more as characters. How can you compare him to a Troy, to an Abed?
Right.
I mean, his relationship with the Dean, like his relationships are core, but I don't know how much about him as a person. So for me, if I were to put him now, I'd put him in the Dreamatorium between Chang and Duncan.
I'm okay with that. I almost want to give Duncan the bump up, but I recognize that, Jeff was pretty crucial to the show.
Jeff can be funny. Like Jeff's probably even funnier than Duncan.
Joel McHale is pretty hilarious as a person too. So yeah, if not way bottom of Streets Ahead, I think right there is just fine for me. So I
can't put him above Chang though, because like Chang, I think is so much funnier.
No, I think
like
so too.
15 funny Chang moments come to mind before one of Jeff's.
Well, that's the thing is like I wanted to put Chang in Streets Ahead, and then we ended up settling for Dreamatorium. So I could see both him and Joel bumping up.
I could do that.
Okay,
I could do that.
Yeah, I think Duncan being like the best of the Dreamatorium kind of makes sense too.
Yeah.
So if we do that, I like what we've got going over here. Now the big question is I'm looking at the anus tier, and we've got 7 of them. So it's a pretty crowded tier. Do you see anyone potentially being bumped up from that tier?
You could do Vaughn.
Yeah, we'll move Vaughn up to I Chang decide. Okay. Yeah. No, and I hear what you guys are saying in the chat about Joel loves the show. He does. Joel is a passionate, like, I think when I see Joel outside of the show, outside of the character he's playing, he's definitely a passionate guy, a compassionate guy. He was actively enjoying being involved with the show stuff. Seeing him in the reunion, he loved every bit of it as well. So that was great. The reunion was so much. The Zoom reunion was a lot of fun to watch. Like I definitely loved that during this quarantine.
I haven't watched a lot of Zoom reunions. I have got to say, just because they remind me about
the harsh
where
reality.
we are in the world.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is this my life? I need to, because like all my favorite shows have done it. I saw Veep did one yesterday. I need to start watching the Zoom reunions.
I watched it. The thing for me is because I've been in this long distance relationship up until I moved when the pandemic happened. My life kind of was on these Zoom calls already. So like it kind of didn't feel like much had changed, especially because the biggest change for me is I'm not going to work 5 times a week now. I'm just home. So I think the impact hit me a little bit less just on that scale where this is like what I did every day. Come home, get on a call for like 3 hours with Liana.
Yeah, well, I get it. Believe me, I did 5 years of long distance.
Yeah, like I know of all people, I know you and I are on the same page here. Oh no, did you get cut? No, you'll be back.
I did it back.
Oh, there we go.
I said I'll be back as soon as you said you'll be back.
Here's where seasons this December would be the December of our December.
I don't really, fuck with the musical episodes of TV shows. I love the Glee episode of Community so much.
And I love musical like I wrote my high school, I did a whole subject essay on the Scrubs musical episode. That the Troy and Abed rap is amazing.
Yeah. Troy and Abed rap
was
is
Secret
great.
Witness.
So quick, someone just came in the chat and said, I just got here. Why is Garrett bottom tier? Why would you argue that Garrett should be higher?
Yeah.
If you can give me the argument, I will listen. I will hear you out.
If you can tell us why Garrett should be above, I would, He is the top of the bottom.
He the best of the Binhams. The best of the Binhams. The Save Garrett rally. We saved him. Yeah. Okay. Yes, let's quickly talk about some of the notable people we didn't include in the list, if there's any.
Well, Subway, now that I know it's Keith from Scrubs, was amazing.
Subway, Buzz Hickey was there for a little bit. The biology professor was there for a little bit. The Greendale human being, if you wanted to count. Louis Guzman could have been on the list. Vicky could have been on the list. Ultimately, I don't think, for me, it was like, I don't really see them going anywhere. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of one-time episode people.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
So...
All right. On that note, I think we've got everything here. We didn't get a rebuttal for the Garrett of it all. I'm happy with the way this list went. This was a lot of fun for me. So, Shannon, when you come back, wait, I'm going to wait for you to come back.
It's clear to all of you that I am awesome.
Okay. Shannon.
I'm so sorry that my internet was into this tier list. I don't know why.
It's all good. We'll figure it out. I don't know. Like it's unique that it's happened, but it worked out. I think we got all our points across. Those who don't watch Community, please check it out. It's a great show. And then you have this tier list to look at as well. So we're in a good spot. But no, I'm really glad you came through, Shannon. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun chatting to you. I think next we do the Friends character
That's
list.
happening. And I feel like I might have stronger opinions on the Friends stuff just because I
have such strong opinions.
I've been sitting on those opinions since I was like 12. So like it's been forever. So I'm very ready.
I need a forum for my Ross defense.
I love Ross. We're on the same page.
Ross is I think one of the best sitcom characters ever.
Agreed.
Yeah, we gotta do it. I have so many thoughts.
I always got hate, and I was like, I fucking like Ross. I get Ross. I'm like, oh god, yeah. We'll save the gold for the next time.
People hate Ross, and they're like, he's so jealous. His wife cheated on him.
Yes, Rachel's the one that's the problem. Okay, no,
we're gonna yes.
We'll save it. We're gonna save this. Annie's boob is not bottom tier because as a monkey, Annie's boob did more than the people in the bottom tier. Daquan. That's why. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Perfect.
So you can see Shannon's Twitter handle in the stream over there up top. Shannon, is there anything else you would like to plug before we head on out here?
No, I mean, if anyone happens to watch, I guess yes. If anyone happens to watch Australian Survivor, we're doing a think tank on Friday. So email authinktank, and Rob has a website if you have ideas. But that's it. I'm sorry about my internet. I had so much fun. I kind of want to go out singing the Chang song. That's it.
Yeah, I'll play us out with the Chang song. So you can find me on social media. Puyaism is over there. If you're here, you probably knew that already. 90 Day Fiance, doing 2 episodes this week. Did part 2 of the tell-all yesterday. Doing part 3 of the tell-all either tonight or tomorrow. So keep on the lookout for that. Masked Singer will be back tomorrow night, as will the podcast sometime before the weekend. Big Brother stuff still going on as well. If you're going to come back to the stream, Friday night is when you'll find me next. And that's going to be when I go on for the pad 1 in the morning, where we hang out, we do a bunch of stuff, we do some advices. I have a forum I put out. If you ask for advice, you can get those answered, or we just chill, watch something. Anything can happen on Friday night. And then Sunday is the Among Us stream at 5 p.m. Eastern. Trust me when I say you're going to want to be there for that. That's all I'm going to say for that. Someone asked why don't I have a subscribe button. I'm not affiliated yet, but with patience comes the subscribe button, and we can make a lot of good things happen when that time comes. I appreciate it all the same. Take care, everyone. Have a good night or a good morning if you're living in Australia. And we leave you with this.
I am seeing your change, and I'm so